Like everyone in closed beta, I play too many fighting games, and I'm here to pass on that torch. This is going to be a quick guide to show you where to parry, how to lab it, and unlock that potential for you. I sound like a used cars dealer. I try my best to make it quick, informational. I'm hoping this guide is going to help someone out there. Let me know. Now for Blitzcrank, this is probably the most important character, along with Darius, to practice parrying against, because his entire game plan revolves around something that you can react to. I don't know what Blitzcrank players are going to do once people react to reach more often. It's important to actually listen to the voice line, because this is a 25 frame move, and he has other things that can kind of bait out your parry if you're not careful. And even as an assist, he says grab and he says reach, two distinctive voice lines. So what I would do is I'd go into practice mode. I'd have a recording set to normal grab and a second recording to his air grab. That way you get punished for whipping parry. Set playback and practice. The important thing is that you get your parry out when he does reach and not when he does the grab. So you're reacting to the sound and not the visual.
They will regret opposing me.
There was one character that I would tell you gotta lab, and it's not too bad. It's Darius. Similar to Blitz, as a new player, you see a lot of people abusing this command pull that on block gives him a 50-50 of an overhead that leads into a combo or a grab that leads into a guaranteed follow-up. You can also combo off it with certain assists. Either way, it's not a good situation to be in. He just does some block string, and now you gotta guess for your life. So, the good news is just like Blitzcrank, you can react to the words engage. Unlike Blitzcrank, it's actually 28 frames, so it's even slower, making it harder for Darius to make parryable. Just doing that will get you a long way away from Darius players. To practice against this, I would suggest going into recordings, recording one normal engage, and one down special one. It looks similar. This way, you can make sure you're reacting to the visuals and not the voice lines, which can kind of mess you up in game. Darius also has this second special. This one is a lot trickier to deal with, honestly. I would make sure you prioritize dealing with the engage, and once you're past that and you're still struggling with Darius players, I'd look more into this. The issue with this is that the second part, he can delay it. It's 20 frames, so it's pretty hard to visually react to. And he can also just not do it. To practice this, once again, I have a recording of him doing a single strike, a recording of him doing two strikes. And once you're comfortable with that, add a third recording of him doing two strikes but delayed. Another relatively easy thing to work on is make sure you are down heavying his air specials, and in certain situations where there's projectiles, make sure you parry. This is one of those situations where you want to dash block into the time winder, but it's more get comfortable with parrying that. Remember that parry gets rid of projectiles on the screen. That's it for Darius. On to the next one. Alright, time for Ekko. This character is very tricky. It goes from struggling to deal with his time winders at low level to still struggling to deal with his time winders, but also dealing with this crazy mix with assists at higher levels. I'll say the most important thing to keep in mind is that this character is designed around cross-ups, and they purposely left a bunch of gaps in his gameplay to accommodate for this. Because if you don't have gaps in your pressure, then cross-ups get nullified in this game, to my understanding. Good example, and the first low-hanging fruit I think you should always parry against Ekko is you just dash parry. Honestly though, I would practice always timing your parry. That way you can get the best punish on every character. I'm going to quickly mention this before I get on to the next thing that I think you should practice parrying against Ekko. He has this charge special too, which leaves a volatile ghost. And this volatile ghost lets him do some crazy things, like combo off grab easily, or if you whiff a grab, you can always just teleport back. It's a very nasty situation to be in. However, my issue on mine, at least, when I've tried to practice parrying against this, is I cannot tell the difference between the tumble and this. He's slightly more crouched on the tumble, so maybe you won't have an issue. And in that case, I would suggest parrying this charge special too. However, I personally can't with all the things going on in this game, and especially when the screen is zoomed out. So, ignoring that, the next big thing I would suggest as a new player, you practice parrying, and probably one of the harder things to parry in this video, but this will help you against beginner Echoes, advanced Echoes, and will stay in the game, I think, for a very long time. His follow-up onto his Ghost is 22 frames, and it always has a gap. So often online when Echoes do this, and then they hit confirm until level 1 for a full combo, keep in mind, you can parry in between here. Now, it goes beyond this. Anytime he has a Ghost, you can always teleport back. And just being comfortable with parrying instead of trying to switch block is very important, and why I suggest practicing this. Now, to practice, I'd set one recording slot to a single, a second recording slot to a double, and a third recording slot, once you're comfortable with the first two, into a delay. And the most important thing is that even if you don't get it, at least you attempt it. And the more you attempt it slowly over the game, you'll get comfortable with actually hitting it in games, and this will destroy a lot of Echoes. And the great news is that there is no punishment currently for holding back and pressing parry to attempt parrying something. So you're safe to do it. It's zero risk, huge reward. And that's why I want you to remember as a new player, because this will be very tricky to hit, honestly. Maybe I'm just getting old, but I find 22 frames to be on the brink of something I'm able to do consistently. And this takes a couple of days just to get comfortable with. And in a game, there's so much happening. But it is worth practicing, especially if you're struggling against an Ekko. And I'll go on to one more thing, but I don't want to make this guide too advanced, so I'll be quite brief. Make sure you are dash blocking against his projectiles that are kind of stationary on the screen. The last thing I will mention on this character is his planting up, his big time winder. When you parry a single hit of this, you get invulnerability. So if you want to parry multiple hits, you have to delay it. That's one. Two, you're better off in most situations running up and grabbing him so you don't get hit by the time winder coming back, especially in the corner. Illaoi actually is a pretty advanced character when it comes to parrying her. She is weak to parry, but the scope of situations that she puts you in kind of goes outside of what I want for this guide. If you want a fuller Illaoi guide, let me know. So, for starters, on 2x Illaoi, she has this back assist, which is really good when combined with her normal assist, as it puts you in these nasty cross-up situations. This back assist is 23 frames, meaning that you can parry it on reaction. To practice this, I would set up having her do the normal assist, and having her do the back assist, and resetting the bot to practice. Now, for Illaoi as a solo character, she has a lot of tricky things that newer players struggle with, one of them being her full screen low. This requires you to hit a low parry, meaning you have to hold down, back, or down, and press parry, instead of just holding back and parrying. The same is true for when she does the string. However, all her normals into specials are pretty gapless. The important thing is that you do a light to get rid of the tentacles, or run up and take your turn after. One more thing I would suggest practicing parrying against, or two more actually, is one, her overhead, which is forward special 2. I would set up a string where she does this, or she does a low. Very simple overhead low mix-up that can be devastating if you aren't able to react to that overhead. It is 26 frames, so definitely one of the slower overheads in the game, but you should definitely parry, as this will counter any assists or more devious setups that people have. You can also 2H it if that's more comfortable for you. Try to remember the input. Motion. This just gives her free plus frames from almost anywhere on the screen, as it has crazy range with the tentacle. That's plus 13. However, it is actually a very slow move that looks a bit faster. This is once again one of those moves that they say the voice line after they do the attack, so I wouldn't be looking out for the voice line, but I'd be looking for when she raises her hands above her head. When she charges it, she keeps the bell near her stomach, versus when she does it quickly, she raises it above her head. This is quite tricky. I would set a replay to practice both of these. But I definitely would prioritize the overhead, the full screen low, and the back assist. Oh, I'm not recording. And the back assist. There we go. Her air special 2 actually crosses up, and honestly, most of the time against stuff like this, you just want to press down heavy. But with assists, this prevents you from pressing down heavy without getting punished. So this is one of those things, once again, where I would practice parrying against this. On to the next one. What am I yapping about? Alrighty, I think I have a handle on how I want to make these videos right now. So I will keep the guides a bit more brief. Maybe I'll miss a couple more advanced things on the character. But I want to cover all the basic things that people abuse starting off. And one of those is this Braum double heavy. Braum has this unique ability where he can do heavy attacks twice. So, for example, he could do forward into neutral, neutral into forward twice. But every time he does the same heavy twice, there is a gap. The second thing that is universal, but Braum players have to utilize it a bit more, is charge heavies. I would really practice parrying charge heavies. As a beginner, just set the bot to fully charge and do that. Once you're more advanced, set some more options of them doing a halfway charge. I actually don't know Braum's timing. There we go. Or just the normal move. Now, again, I don't think it's realistic to perfectly parry this every single time, but anytime someone is abusing this, keep in mind they're able to parry and get ready to parry the next time they do it. The last thing I'll mention for Braum, that is a fundamental that most beginner Braums don't abuse, but most advanced Braums have to stop abusing because it's quite easy to parry, is the special one. For example, off his anti-air, he'll always just go into special one, which leads into an easy combo, or a safe on block setup. This is 25 frames. It has a unique animation, so I would just practice parrying it after a string like this, where you mix into him doing the low, or into the special one, which resets to neutral. The trickiest thing about Braum is once he gets into his ice form, and all his moves that are very slow have armor. Something to keep in mind is that the medium here is 14 frames. This is very slow compared to most mediums, but it's designed around the fact that when you have armor, you're able to kind of abuse it. Now, I think it's pretty unrealistic to rely on parry when he has ice. The best thing you could do is when you're pressuring, go for lights, especially multi-hitting lights. That'll actually break the armor. Or if you're playing a character like Yasuo, just press your specials that have multi-hit properties on them. Like your special one, and that will break the armor. It's only one hit armor. And then once again, remember that if he's doing stuff like this, or charge heavying, instead of trying to mash to beat it, parry. I think that's it for the Poro Slinger. I guess keep in mind that parrying Poro is not worth it, but if you really want to swag out on the Braum, I'm 0 frames there. Up close, you're like +1 or something. Yeah, it depends. But leave the Poros alone. It's not worth it, I swear. They are. On to the next character. Alright, Mrs. Shoot Him If You Got Him, aka Jinx. I'm just going to address the setup, because if you ever watch high-level gameplay, trying to learn the game, you don't watch people play, you're going to see Jinx players do one thing mainly, and it's this. They're going to call a laser, they're going to tag, and you're going to get crossed up or something and die. When it comes to parrying, you can try and parry. The reason it's probably not working is because you get hit by the assist at the start. If you don't get hit by the assist, you can parry this for some free meter, but you're not free. Right. Future Max here, quickly gonna interject. One, I don't know if I never noticed this or they just changed it. As you can see, the ahri is moving in slow motion while I'm parrying. This actually makes parrying a lot safer. The counter normally to someone just parrying is they run up and low you, and because you're doing a mid-high parry, the low is guaranteed to hit you while parrying. Alright. Having gone over the patch notes, Future Max here. Mostly everything in this video is still up to date. I'm going to be making a separate video for Warwick and Teemo to go over what you can parry on those characters. However, Jinx is getting a pretty major change in that she can now cancel her chain gun at any time. A big part of my anti-Jinx guide was that after Hammer, you can always parry this chain gun if they're at a normal distance. You can always try to, and you just gain a bunch of free meter. This chain gun is super good because Jinx can kind of just keep you in hit stun for a long time and then do cross-ups, hit stun, whatever. After hammer, you can practice parrying chain gun, and you don't have to parry the whole thing. You can parry, and then when you don't feel comfortable parrying anymore, you just hold down back and you continue blocking. There's no punishment for parrying. But a lot of Jinx is doing a rocket and then having a tag run in, or just getting random hits on you in neutral. She actually doesn't have a lot of cross-up. Her cross-up, she doesn't have no cross-up at all, but her mix is this big overhead hammer. So if you were training against Jinx, I would suggest having this string happen and do this. Have those both in replay and practice parrying the machine gun and parrying the overhead. And the last thing I would suggest parrying against Jinx and practicing is this down below. I'll insert some clips here of me doing it. This with assist is a really strong move, and it actually has a very long lingering hitbox that often people run into. The good news is because it has a lingering hitbox, you can dash parry into it pretty reliably, and it being a 24 frame move, it is reactable, but a lot harder to do than parrying her overhead. So I would definitely prioritize doing that above all else against Jinx. Okay, on to the next character. Alrighty, Vi. I'm going to keep real basic for this one. Vi is a pretty big menace for new players because she's one of those rushdown characters. And she has these long strings, and it's like, you're not sure when to press. So I'm going to help you out and show you what you can parry and what to do about that overhead. This dash move is super good. Honestly, I've not figured out what to do about it, but she can do a light, medium into heavy, or a light into this heavy that jumps over and does this overhead. This overhead, you can parry, but I wouldn't suggest practicing this because she can charge, and this kind of adjusts the timing a bit too much. Instead, anytime you see her jump in the air, just press down heavy and you will get a free launch. And the timing is very lenient on it. Doesn't matter if they charge or don't charge. So what can you parry against Vi? One is this multiple punches. She can press this, she can mash it, and it lasts a bit longer. But no matter what, she has to do a follow-up. That little one more, she has different voice lines. That where she kind of pulls back for one final punch. There's a gap there, and you can always just parry. Doesn't matter if she does a bunch or very little, but you get a parry and a full punish. So never let her get away with that. And the other thing is this charge heavy. I mean, this is, I think outside of that, it's a lot of like using lights to keep her out, down heavy to counter her jump cross up, which is pretty ridiculous. Let me actually do a recording. I will mention that sometimes it is better to actually do, depending on your character, a parry instead of a down heavy, because at certain angles and certain characters, Jinx's down heavy is pretty good. Your down heavy will actually miss when it's a cross up, and she'll end up going behind you like that and punish you. If you, it's a little bit of an odd situation, but if you parry instead, maybe like a character like Ahri, it might be more reliable, and it also counters them calling an assist to punish you for doing down heavy. So it might be worth practicing parrying air attacks. This full screen charge punch is another big thing I would suggest parrying. You can jump it and punish it, but it's really hard for new players to do so, and I see it abused a lot. I would instead suggest you just learn the range and be comfortable walking into it almost and parrying. If you back off when she does it, she'll actually whiff. So that can be quite awkward if you make her whiff and then you parry. And along with this, often she'll tag in an assist and then tag out while still charging the super. Oh, I have no meter. I'm like, why can't I parry? And you can parry that to counter both. So the Gatling and her, the main thing you need to really practice against Vi is definitely this fist. This basic fist is a super good move and 13 frames, so there's no way you're parrying this. But let's see, she also has just an overhead, doesn't she? I do not know the input. Oh, there we go. Forward heavy. This is 25 frames. She is airborne, so you can just commit to down heavying her. You might want to parry when they have assist, and you don't have that option, because parry is always going to be faster than a down heavy. And that's it for Vi. A real quick one. Small tidbit, actually. If you are going to lab against Vi, I would definitely lab breaking this grab. A very common strategy for Vi's that I'm starting to figure out how to deal with better is them dashing up and doing this light to catch you jumping into a combo, or them grabbing you and getting a free combo. Was it down? Yeah, there we go. And if they're using a assist like Blitz or whatever, you can lose 80% of your HP for getting grabbed here. So this is techable. It's not a command grab. That threw me off for a while because it looks like a command grab. So I would practice teching that. You see your dash, get ready to break the grab. Alright, good luck. On to the last character, Yasuo. If you thought the Vi section was brief, this might even be briefer. Yasuo, thankfully, isn't... He's a really strong character, but I don't see a lot of new players playing him. So by the time you get more advanced in the game and you're dealing with good Yasuos, hopefully your fundamentals are stronger. But the main thing I would practice against Yasuo is parrying, one, this full screen. You can always react to him. Throwing out a sword, it's quite delayed. If he puts out the NATO, you can dash parry into it. At certain times it might be useful to remember. And the main thing is this cross-up. This is 27 frames, so it's definitely reactable. And he has to charge it. He can do a light charge. I don't know if it changes. Doesn't say it does, though. The main difficult thing is that he has this move, which looks similar. Let me actually set the bot to... But the good news is when you mash parry, you do not get punished for doing it. So if you see him go into that bunker down stance and charge it, make sure you're getting ready to parry the cross-up. If you don't have meter, you can just block it, but it can be quite tough at times. And often what Yasuo players will do is they'll call in an assist to make it to where you don't have enough frames to actually parry the cross-up. Along with this, Yasuo just has so many tricky things with this stance. And the amount of options he has, a lot of it comes down to being able to press a down light or a light at the right time to kind of punish him for dashing into your face. And it's not like Darius or some slower characters where he relies on like an overhead or something to open you up. He's just super fast, and that's why I don't want to make a huge kind of parry section for him. Main thing is his cross-up. And outside of that, good luck. Yeah, if you want a fuller Yasuo guide or anti-Yasuo guide, just watch K7. I think he made one, but I could definitely make a more beginner-focused one if you're struggling out of him. That's it. Can't wait to see you October 7th. Yeah, I know the last ending of this video is pretty choppy. I kind of got tired of editing, and also because there's a patch coming out, I was afraid of how much would be changed. Thankfully, after reading the patch notes, I think everything outside of Jinx's, chain gun is still the same. There's some smaller changes, but yeah, all the parry fundamentals are still there. And the good thing about parry that hopefully I've made clear in this video is that often you can use a down heavy or you can jump out of stuff, but when people add in assists, parry is a really high reward, low risk option. When you're reacting to moves. Obviously, if they bait it out and you're just doing it as you see someone press medium heavy and you're just mashing parry, you can get punished. But when you're looking for specific moves like Vi's overhead or Yasuo's cross up, it becomes super important and strong to shut down people kind of abusing cheese, because it is cheese. And yep, so I'm sure there's a couple of small things I missed, and I don't know everything that newer players are struggling with or people are abusing, and as the game progresses, there's going to be a lot more. So let me know if there are any other things I should have went over, or if you want an in-depth guide on any characters, and I'll make sure to make a video about Teemo and Warwick as soon as I can. Peace.